Not all butlers are allowed to speak their minds like Alfred, but the ones that are patient and polite have a very lucrative career ahead of them, one that can make them more than $150,000 per year. Butlers aren't just around to be welcoming and fetch meals. They're usually in charge of everything that happens in a wealthy household. That can mean a lot of pressure, like working 60+ hours a week, but it can also pay off with things like free cars, trips around the world, and getting to live in a mansion. Join us as we explore the lives and jobs of billionaires' butlers and find out why this profession is becoming a new favorite career in hospitality. Butlers were originally just mid-ranking staff in a wealthy household, but by the 18th century, butlers had become pretty much the head of the rich person's home. Their work really had no boundaries. It was all up to what their boss wanted. While the butler is traditionally defined as the chief male servant of a household, it's since come to include women, but over time, the job may actually have gotten harder. Butlers often have to work like assistants, completing household budgets, doing errands and grocery trips, scheduling appointments, and even taking over the boss's cell phone so they can disconnect without missing anything important. It's believed that the French invented the butler, but the Americans and their growing wealth invented the modern butler. Yes, most butlers are employed in the USA, while butlers in the Middle East are becoming more common. As for who becomes butlers more often, British butlers are a favorite in pop culture, but in real life, it seems like Swiss butlers are the most likely to be successful. The International Guild of Professional Butlers, there is one, estimates that there is a few million professional butlers all over the world. There has been a steady increase of butlers in the last 30 years, with a surge during the 2010s. But what's a day in the life of a modern butler really like? Well, they're expected to be a well-rounded employee. Sometimes they may even double as a chef, valet, or bodyguard. They must have good management skills since they're often in charge of other household workers, and they've got to have a certain type of personality. They have to be patient, can't talk back unless they want to get fired, and they have to be very, very discreet. Butlers see things, lots of things, but they can't go blabbing to their friends or the tabloids. But this discretion and adherence to the rules and etiquette really does pay off. Some butlers get grandiose gifts for their loyalty, like one butler who received a Mercedes-Benz SL worth $100,000 on his 3-year work anniversary. Of course, butlers have to go somewhere to learn all these skills, since most aren't born knowing how to properly set a table. Thankfully, there are multiple academies all over the world that let them do just that. Before you can become a butler and settle into your employer's mansion somewhere, you've got to make sure you have the skills needed for the demanding career. It all starts with applying and paying for a course. The total cost of an 8-week butler training program in the US is about $15,000. At the British Butler Academy, you can start a course for $2,700. The most famous in the world to learn butling, and yes, that's actually a word, is the International Butler Academy, located in the historical city of Simpelveld, just south of the Netherlands. The academy spans 80,000 square feet and offers 135 rooms as a training ground. As the academy individuals learn the skills of first-class butling, house managing, and personal assisting, the academy is basically a castle, giving students the perfect environment to feel like they're serving the ultra-rich. It's also equipped with luxury tools like fine china and wine to help the students get accustomed to working with very expensive products. As for the academy's instructors, they all used to be butlers too. The academy not only gives them a place to pass on their knowledge, but also serves as a possible career trajectory when they get sick of working in private homes. As for the types of topics you can expect to cover in this course, there's everything from how to properly open and serve wine and champagne to how to properly pack your employer's bag for a trip. There are also specialized training courses at the academy which include interior yacht crew training for butlers who want to work at sea. These butlers often work on cruise ships or as part of a for-hire boat crew on chartered yachts. The academy also helps train people who would like to buttle on the side at parties and dinner events, but would rather not work full-time in an employer's home. Students are also increasingly being trained to work in China, where English butlers with accents are becoming a huge trend. The rise of China's super rich has lured the academy to set up a special school in Chengdu, China, with more locations to come. Fun fact, the rise of popularity of butlers in China is partially due to Downton Abbey and how the show displays aristocratic wealth. So you've passed your butler's training program, now it's time to land yourself a job. A new butler willing to go east to a place like Shanghai or Dubai can start at a very respectable salary of $60,000 a year. English butlers are always in demand here, so they're usually able to take charge of their employer's estate right away. But if you want to work in the West, things are a bit more competitive. In the US, a rookie butler typically apprentices for a few years and earns a starting salary of $40,000. But a butler in the East or the West should hit six figures within 5 to 6 years if they play their cards right. In fact, the top butlers in the world can earn up to $150,000 per year plus benefits. But in some places like China, a foreign butler is worth much more than a Chinese one. An Anglo butler will receive at least $50,000 a year, while a Chinese butler may only receive $300 a month, which is low enough that even the Chinese middle class can hire one. But being smart about where you go is just the beginning. Once you settle on a location, it's all about finding the right boss that will give you some great job perks. Some of the perks of the jobs are security and a place to live, a chance to travel the world, spend time on luxury yachts, and eat some very fine food. But some employers are better than others. They can offer you gifts like that free car we mentioned, and also give you weekends off. Some employers will even pay extra to have a butler with an accent. For example, working as a British butler in the US is hard because of work visas, but an employee will cover all the expenses and make it happen if they really want to. The same can happen in China and other countries where English-speaking butlers are all the rage. Being a butler also comes with some job security since the field is in such high demand. If you really mess up and get fired, or you just want to quit, most butlers will find another job within 2 weeks. But there are downsides to the job as well. Many butlers work 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, while others are expected to be available 24/7 for their employer. It's really all about what you can put up with. Butling definitely isn't for everyone. Think of every time you've seen a butler out and about. You probably can't think of anything that's not from a movie. That's because butlers have a strict code of conduct, and one aspect of this is to blend into the background as much as possible. Other rules for butlers include neat hair, clipped nails, no visible tattoos or jewelry. They also must have clean and pressed uniforms with polished boots, though some employers might prefer their butlers to be a little more relaxed. Butlers also must have great communication and language skills. They must say, "My pleasure," instead of "You're welcome." They have to delete their social media accounts, keep a respectable reputation, and never talk about their boss's personal business to others. Putting your own needs behind your employers is the entire job description. As a butler, you must never react with anger or annoyance, even if your boss is asking you to follow him around, shutting off lights, or put you in charge of cleaning up after his dog. While it may seem harsh that you can't leave work for personal emergencies or take last-minute sick days, butler schools make it pretty clear that you shouldn't pursue this as a career if you're not willing to put your personal and social life on the back burner to make sure your boss is happy. To meet the demand, many of today's modern butlers come from backgrounds like sport management, the military, and even public relations. These butlers have specific organizational talents and a work ethic that helps them beat out the competition. So you see, it's not just skill, it's patience and a positive mindset to make a career as a billionaire's butler work for you. You also have to have pride in your work, even if you aren't always directly reaping its benefits. If this sounds like you, then maybe you have what it takes to be a star butler in the world's richest. But if not, at least you know you have some appreciation for a job that's often done in the shadows. Did you know that the richest butler in the world is thought to be this man, Gary Williams? Worth an estimated $2.2 million, he now works as the principal of the British Butler Institute. So there's definitely some proven job growth in the field of luxury butlers. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.